Hey guys, welcome back again to Ken Tamplin Vocal Academy, where the proof continues to be in the actual singing. I'm doing a whole series on You Asked, Ken Answers, and so I'm trying to get through a lot of the information that I get messaged on Facebook or on YouTube or emailed or in our singing forums, etc. So I'm going through it, and we have a lot of people from all over the world, so it's pretty cool. Gabriella from Italy asks, how can I sound like my favorite artist? That's kind of funny, Gabriella. We just got a question that said, how could I not sound like my favorite artist? That's a tough one because it depends on your voice type. And there's something called Vocal Fox, there's 25 of them, and it's a German way of determining your voice type. And so you first have to determine your voice type and then get yourself to a place where you can get your timbre and the things that you like about a certain artist. And it's kind of ironic. We just got another message, or I got a message this morning at 3 o'clock this morning. I'm up on email because I couldn't sleep. How can I sound like Gwen Stefani? Well, she has a very unique sound, so it's not like she's got this kind of raised laryngeal position, much like even Britney Spears and some other people. So it's not like you can just all of a sudden do this. You have to understand the mechanics on how this works. I have a singing course. It's called How to Sing Better Than Anyone Else, and I walk you through step by step how all this stuff works. That's not to just sell the course. I'm just saying it's in there if you're interested. And if you're not, I have a ton of tutorials on influences and how to get influences from other artists. But in the end, you just kind of play with it. You just kind of, you try to mimic their sound and this and that. Now, other people say you should never sound like anybody else. I just did a whole video on that as well, as far as we all have influences, and it's the total sum of those influences that makes us great, and how we take those influences and bring them into our own. So I'm not trying to skirt the question, but it's a question where you say, like me as a guitar player, how do I sound like Eric Clapton, or how do I sound like my favorite guitar player, right? Whoever that is. Well, you just sit there and you get your guitar out, you get your voice out, and you go over it note by note, and you record it, and you listen back, and you say, do I sound like them? Now, I have a kind of a silly story for you that maybe this will help you. So I don't really have any vocal timbre similar to Robert Plant, okay? I really don't. I'm a much lower range singer than he is. But what's interesting is when I was younger, and I mean early high school, I went to a garage sale. My family wasn't doing that well financially at the time. My dad had left home. Not trying to give a big pity party, but it's just a life story, and hopefully this will help you. And we were moving around from motel to motel just to try to have a place over our heads. And I was at this place called Northwest Educational Center that let me do high school at my own pace. And I bought these 2 recorders at a garage sale, and they were like $5 each or something. And believe it or not, that was a lot of money to me back then. So what I would do is I'd start one, old cassette recorders, I'd start one, and I'd play Stairway to Heaven, or I'd play the Rain Song, or, because I love Led Zeppelin, and a lot of songs like that. And then I would play that recorder and try to get it close enough to the microphone of the other recorder so I could match the sound. And then I would sing over the top because I couldn't really play and sing at that time very well. And so I wanted to listen to how I, graded myself on how I sounded like Robert Plant. And so after a while, there's a lady who's sure, he's got these different, inflections and stuff. And it took a while, but I after a few times I went, well, that didn't suck. The other one sucked, but that one didn't suck. And so you start to move on and get a little better, and then you pick another artist that you like, and you pick another artist. But now, I gotta say this because it's worthy. If you learn good vocal technique, something I learned the hard way is that once I learned how the voice worked, once I learned how I could strengthen the voice, get longevity and power and tone and range and pitch, once I learned all that, it was a lot easier to want to learn how to sing my favorite artist. Now, I have a whole section in my course. It's called Licks and Tricks. And what's kind of funny about that is that, learning a vocal run or a vocal lick is even harder because you're trying to learn your favorite artist and then they do some crazy thing. And I'll use an example of this. I did Chris Stapleton's, Tennessee Whiskey, for example, and I broke it out for you guys note by note where you could do it. Well, you have to have a foundation first before you can just start doing these crazy vocal runs, for example. because they're going to sound terrible and pitchy and horrible. So get your foundation, get your house together, then start building rooms on the house, and then you're going to learn how to sing like your favorite singer. Okay? Hopefully this information was helpful, and God bless. Peace out. Hey guys, if you like what you heard, please like and subscribe to my channel. And if you want to get notified when I have a new cool video come out, you need to go to my channel and click on this little bell icon, and it will actually notify you every time I have a video come out. Thanks guys.